Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Thursday, the 24th of March, 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, I bring you the 5 news items that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1. Markets, as always. The S&P ASX 200 has risen every day this week and is back to where it started the year. It closed up 0.1% today to 7,387 points. Utilities and energy stocks did well, while healthcare and technology stocks underperformed. Iron ore prices rose, and that helped the big miners, led by BHP, which jumped more than 2%, and Rio Tinto, which was up 2.5%. The banks were mixed. The oil and gas companies did well, thanks to higher oil prices. Brent crude pushed through the $120 a barrel mark. The best performer today was Whitehaven Coal, up 6.4%. Coal companies are having a very good run at the moment. Brickworks was up 5% after delivering its biggest ever half-year profit, while JB Hi-Fi jumped 4% following a release saying sales so far this year in Australia were up 11%. Zip Co was down another 5% today and is nearly 90% below its high point. Investors don't believe the Buy Now, Pay Later group has the size to match it with the big players in the sector. Story number 2. Crown Resorts share price jumped 0.5% today after the Western Australian Royal Commission found it wasn't fit to hold a casino licence in the state, but it could keep operating. The Royal Commission recommended that the Perth Casino face heavy oversight for the next 2 years and stiffer financial penalties if further breaches occur. The report found a number of breaches from money laundering to not being open and accountable to regulators. Story number 3. The federal government today announced an mRNA vaccine manufacturing facility will be built in Victoria to produce vaccines from 2024. The deal with pharmaceutical group Moderna is worth billions of dollars, the government said. Didn't tell us exactly how much. And it could produce up to 100 million doses a year. Meanwhile, COVID numbers continue to climb, with 25,000 infections announced in New South Wales today, 11,000 in Queensland and 10,000 in Victoria. Story number 4. Australia has finalised a deal with the Ardern government to resettle up to 150 refugees a year in New Zealand over the next 3 years. What's remarkable about that? Well, the deal was first struck 10 years ago. It's taken that much time. Those eligible will include refugees currently on Nauru under regional processing arrangements and those on temporary protection visas who have been banned from ever settling in Australia. Staying in politics, high-profile independent politician Nick Xenophon will once again run for Senate in the next federal election, having quit back in 2017. Mr. Xenophon said politics was even worse than when he left it, and he wants to do something about it. In story number 5, Russia has upped its nuclear rhetoric, with a top diplomat warning that Russia is a nuclear power and will consider using such weapons if it sees a credible threat. It comes ahead of a major NATO summit over what the US has now formally labelled Russian war crimes. US President Joe Biden has arrived in Brussels for the NATO summit, as well as G7 and European Union summits. On the ground, the bombardment of Mariupol continues, with reports of about 100,000 people in the southern city remaining trapped without water, food or power. Capital Kyiv is also under heavy fire. That's it for the afternoon report for Thursday, the 24th of March, 2022. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Friday Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.